Have you ever felt that just overwhelming sense of information overload?
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
you're wading through articles, reports, uh, countless opinions, just trying to get a handle on anything really.
Yeah, it feels like you're drowning in noise half the time.
Exactly. And it feels like the signal to noise ratio is just completely off. What if? What if the most crucial insights, the deepest understanding, came not from endless external sources, but from a profound internal connection?
It's a really compelling thought, isn't it?
Mm.
That the very wisdom we're seeking might actually be accessible from within through what some people call an inner knowing or maybe divine guidance.
Exactly. Welcome to the deep dive. Here, we try to cut through all that noise to bring you the most potent insights we can find.
And today's topic is a big one.
It really is. Today, we're taking a pretty profound journey into understanding how to discern and live by what many describe as this voice of the divine.
And we should probably say, people use different terms, right? Divine voice, guidance, inner knowing.
Yeah, good point. We'll use them somewhat interchangeably because, honestly, people experience this connection in countless ways. And
Hmm.
this isn't just about, passively listening. It's about deep personal transformation.
Right. It's active.
So our mission in this deep dive is really to explore the practical ways individuals actually experience this guidance, how it shifts their lives, and what it might truly reveal about the very nature of the divine itself.
And we've come across some really surprising stories. Powerful stuff.
Definitely. Get ready for some of those and insights that might just change how you approach, well, everyday decisions and maybe even your deepest relationships.
Okay, let's jump in.
So let's set the stage a bit. When it comes to trying to tune into this inner guidance, some people find it just flows, like an everyday conversation, almost second nature.
Yeah, we've seen that. Some people just naturally articulate what they're sensing or hearing like they've always done it.
But for others, it's a profound challenge, something they really, really grapple with.
Absolutely. It's a whole spectrum. Others really struggle, you know, even knowing where to start or what to listen for. They might feel like there's just internal static, making it hard to discern anything clearly.
And that really leads us to the core question, doesn't it? The one we hear so often. How do you tell as a thought or an impression is from the divine or just your own mind?
The million-dollar question.
Yeah, it's such a practical question, but maybe not a simple answer.
That's right. There really isn't a single simple answer because it truly is a journey. It's about refinement. Especially early on, our own personal thoughts can be quite overwhelming. They just crowd things out.
Making it hard to discern.
Exactly. And there's real risk of misinterpreting things, particularly if we're kind of clouded by our own emotional baggage. Things like deep hurts, frustration, maybe a strong need for external validation.
Ah, okay. So those internal states can act like filters.
Totally. They can really filter or distort what we think we're hearing, making it sound more like our own self-centered desires or fears.
So in essence, getting out of our own way, maybe clearing that internal static, that becomes crucial, what some might call a state of humility or surrender.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yep.
It's often when our own agendas, our stubbornness, are truly humbled. Or maybe when we simply surrender our need to control everything. That's when we become most open and receptive to clearer guidance.
Like finding clarity in those moments of letting go.
Precisely. Think of, historical figures who found that clarity in moments of profound humility. It's in those moments of letting go that we become truly receptive. It sort of quiets the internal noise.
Okay, but then here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We've heard this kind of surprising idea that as trust grows, many of your personal thoughts are actually this divine voice, and this can even be confirmed by others. And this ties into that concept you mentioned earlier, original design.
Yes, that's such a powerful realization. When you genuinely trust and yield your life, you often find that many of your seemingly own thoughts are in fact inspired. They have a different quality.
So it's not always other, it can be you aligned with something deeper.
Exactly. And this is where that concept of original design becomes so validating. When someone expresses what they believe is a divine thought about another person's inherent nature, or calling their original design, and then other people independently confirm the same insight.
Wow.
Yeah, it builds immense confidence. It suggests that your inner promptings can truly align with this intended inherent nature that the divine sees in someone.
What about differentiating from, say, negative influences?
Yeah.
Are there internal voices that stem from an unhealthy place? How do you sort that out?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really important distinction. Thoughts rooted in things like anger, unforgiveness, or maybe a desperate need for validation,
Hmm.
they can certainly distort perception. They feel different, heavier.
Okay.
But interestingly, the influence of genuinely negative external forces is often remarkably easy to discern once you tune in. It typically brings an immediate, palpable, negative feeling like a sense of oppression or fear or just darkness. That distinction can actually be quite clear.
So it feels different subjectively.
Very different. Yes, there's a qualitative difference in the feeling it produces.
It sounds like there's almost a constant inner negotiation then between our, human impulses and these spiritual promptings.
There really is. It's a lifelong tension, isn't it?
Mhm.
Between our sort of base instincts and our higher callings. But, and this is crucial, it's important to remember that imperfection is okay.
That's a relief.
It is. Mistakes aren't roadblocks. They're actually opportunities for growth, for repentance, for course correction. It's not about achieving perfection, but about continually turning back and realigning yourself.
Okay, theory can only take us so far, right? To
Yeah.
truly grasp how this works, we really need to hear from people who are living it.
Absolutely. Stories make it real.
Let's dive into some truly remarkable stories of everyday transformation through this divine guidance. Our first storyteller recounts these really clear, specific commands he received.
Right.
Take the story of the littered parking lot. Simple thing, right? He's leaving work, sees trash someone just carelessly left behind,
Yeah, just dropped it.
and immediately feels this inconvenient nudge, this thought, pick it up. And his first reaction is, why me? I didn't make this mess.
Totally relatable reaction. And the prompting persists. He even tried to bargain, didn't he?
He did. He told himself, okay, if there's a plastic bag in my car, then I'll do it.
Of course.
And lo and behold, a big one was right there.
Yeah.
He even waited for people to leave because he felt awkward, didn't want to be seen picking up someone else's garbage.
Yeah, a little embarrassing maybe.
Mhm.
But the real challenge came with disposing of it. It wasn't just like a coffee cup. It was the kind of unsorted, messy trash you can't just throw anywhere easily.
Right, so now he's driving home, kind of grumbling internally, wondering why he was asked to do something so annoying, so inconvenient.
Mhm.
And then his wife calls, totally out of the blue, saying the kids suddenly want to go to the supermarket, which apparently they rarely do after work.
Ah, the plot twist.
Exactly, and that's the beautiful payoff. He gets there, probably forgot about the trash in the back for a minute, and his wife, without him even saying anything, spots a large public trash can at the supermarket entrance and just takes the bag and disposes of it. Problem solved.
It's such a perfect illustration how this guidance often speaks in these small, specific, sometimes inconvenient ways.
Yeah.
And obedience, even when you're reluctant, can lead to these unexpected solutions and provision. It's almost like the inconvenience was part of a larger, unseen orchestration, like a little test, maybe.
Could be. Or the parking predicament stories.
Oh, yeah, those are great, too.
He's told internally not to park in a really convenient spot. He ignores it or questions it, maybe parks there anyway.
No, he listened on the first one, right? He was told not to park there, and he obeyed.
Right. He obeyed. And then immediately, a larger vehicle comes along that needed that specific spot and wouldn't have fit where he ended up parking.
Exactly. And then later, another situation. He's directed to take one of two available spots. He takes it. And again, the same large car from before pulls in and needs the other specific spot.
Wow. That highlights how specific this guidance can be, even in really mundane choices like parking.
It really does. It can be a sign of this active personal connection. It's about being attuned to those subtle directions in everyday life, confirming that this inner voice is deeply personal and, well, paying attention to details.
Okay, now shifting gears a bit, what about more ambiguous leadings? You mentioned they often involve finances. This same storyteller felt prompted again internally to anonymously donate to a struggling pastor he just happened to see on a broadcast.
Yes, this was a really compelling case of discerning these trumps towards generosity,
Yeah.
even when it feels uncomfortable or illogical, and crucially, without seeking any personal benefit or recognition.
Right, the anonymity was key.
It was. He actually went to considerable lengths, using social media clues, to find the pastor's contact information. And then he very carefully crafted an anonymous message to go with the donation, specifically to ensure the pastor felt absolutely no obligation or discomfort.
That really challenges the whole idea of, giving to get something back, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It was purely about responding to that inner nudge without expecting any return on investment, so to speak.
And his major life move, The one to Kona. You said there wasn't an explicit voice command for that one.
No, not like the parking spots or the trash. For that huge decision, it was described more as a series of open doors, clear signs, and tangible provision just showing up when needed.
So guidance through circumstances.
Exactly. This illustrates that this inner guidance can definitely come through circumstantial signs and, pathways just clearing open for you, not just direct words. Sometimes it's about recognizing the path being paved, a kind of natural unfolding of events that confirms the direction feels right.
Okay, let's move on to the sister of Breakthrough. Her story about overcoming obstacles is truly powerful. You mentioned her initial resistance to moving to Kona was really strong.
Oh, incredibly strong. She viewed it as completely illogical for her family, her career. It made no sense on paper. She had very strong objections.
But then something shifted dramatically.
Yes, she described experiencing this overwhelming, clear divine command. She likened it to the feeling of thunder. It was apparently so forceful, so undeniable, that it just shattered all her personal logic, all her objections.
Oh.
And it led to this radical obedience. She said she literally let go of everything she had built, material possessions, career path, everything, without regret, right after receiving that command.
That's intense. It really speaks to the power of this guidance to break through our own reasoning when needed.
Absolutely. It's a testament to how this guidance can have the power to just override human objections and lead to these significant, sometimes scary life shifts.
And her prayer life was redefined too, wasn't it? She experienced a shift from just asking for fixes to praying for deeper transformation.
Yes, this is such a profound shift. She described receiving images, like mental pictures, during prayer. And these images shifted her focus. So instead of just praying for, say, her father's physical ailment to be healed,
She started praying for something else.
she started praying for his humility. Or for her sister, who was struggling emotionally, she saw an image related to stubborn tears and began praying for true submission, a deeper heart change, not just symptom relief.
So the divine insight refined her prayers.
Exactly. It refined and empowered her intentions, moving them away from maybe just human desires or quick fixes towards alignment with a deeper, more profound will for transformation.
Okay, now let's talk about the quiet listener. His experience sounds different. He doesn't describe hearing loud voices.
Right. His experience is more subtle, but just as valid. He perceives this guidance more as an uneasy feeling or like an internal check in his spirit,
When does he feel that?
particularly when he's contemplating actions that might benefit himself but could potentially harm others, even in small ways. Like the thought of just leaving trash behind relating back to the first story.
Oh, so it's like an internal moral compass.
That's a great way to describe it. This inner guidance often operates as a moral compass, that inner conviction to do what is right, what is considerate, even if it's inconvenient. It's that subtle sense of discomfort or that check that signals, hey, maybe that's not the best path.
And he mentioned this internal check has impacted his marriage, helping him see past his own assumptions about his spouse.
Absolutely. He shared how listening to those inner promptings, that check, helped him pause before reacting based on his own preconceived notions about why his wife might be doing something.
So it fostered empathy.
Yes, exactly. It fostered empathy and led to healthier interactions. It encouraged him to step out of his own fixed ideas and genuinely consider her perspective. It's less about always being right and more about seeking understanding and connection.
Okay, fascinating. Finally, our media and relational revelator. He shared some really unconventional ways he felt guided, like getting insight from a Korean drama.
Yeah, Queen of Tears, apparently. The quote was, "Everyone has a heavy stone in their pocket." And he said hearing that line just clicked for him. It helped him understand the hidden burdens others might be carrying, leading to actual relational reconciliation.
That's amazing. It shows this wisdom can speak through unexpected places, right? Like popular culture.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic example of how this inner wisdom can use almost anything, a movie, a song, a drama, to foster empathy and help resolve conflict. It makes you wonder what subtle messages might be waiting in the everyday media we consume, if we're open to it,
And the airline ticket miracle, that's a wild story.
isn't it? He spontaneously felt he should buy this quite expensive plane ticket for someone attending an event who had a truly terrible, long layover. Just felt this nudge, buy the better ticket.
But there was a hurdle.
Yeah, he'd recently had his credit card compromised due to phishing and was waiting for the replacement. He thought, well, I can't do it. But then, checking his mail right after feeling the prompt, the new card had just arrived, literally that moment.
Wow. Perfect timing.
Incredible timing. It allowed the purchase, and the grateful response from the recipient, who promised to pay it forward, just further affirmed that this prompting was genuine.
It really shows a deep, active involvement in the details, doesn't it? Orchestrating things like credit card arrivals.
It really does. It suggests this guidance can coordinate immediate, surprising provision for these generous acts, even down to mundane financial transactions.
Okay, let's talk about another powerful way this inner guidance communicates through dreams. Our Dreamweaver's journey to Kona is a prime example here. She described this period of inner restlessness before the dream started.
Yes, she felt a profound emptiness, she said. A sense that her life, despite looking fine on the outside, wasn't what it was meant to be. She and her husband had been invited to Kona, visited the campus, but honestly, they weren't impressed initially. They hadn't committed at all.
Right, they weren't sold on it.
Not at all. But then, things changed. A series of vivid, simultaneous dreams began. Not just for her, but for her husband, too. And all of them seemed to point towards this major life shift.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. They had dreams like their house burning down, forcing them to leave a pretty clear symbol of needing to abandon old comforts, right?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Then another dream of driving a sports car freely on a Hawaiian highway, suggesting freedom and a new path. And one about a broken calculator that just wouldn't add up numbers correctly, symbolizing their financial concerns about the move, but maybe also hinting that normal calculations wouldn't apply.
Interesting. Don't rely on your own math for this.
Possibly. These dreams are apparently incredibly vivid, persistent, a clear, repeated nudge through the subconscious.
And then came the really miraculous confirmation tied to that calculator dream, perhaps. The lawsuit settlement.
Yeah, exactly. Out of the blue, they received an unexpected settlement from a 5-year-old lawsuit. And it wasn't some huge case. It was over a tiny parcel of land. But the amount they received miraculously covered their tuition costs to come to Kona. In fact, it was almost double what they needed.
That's incredible. Talk about specific provision.
Isn't it? It powerfully demonstrates how this inner guidance can speak persistently through dreams, often in a series, providing very specific confirmation and orchestrating miraculous provision for these big life decisions. It was undeniable validation for them.
And it brought the family along too, didn't it? It wasn't just them.
Right. Her son, hearing about their decision, suddenly felt drawn to join them too, partly because of a triathlon event happening in Kona that interested him. And incredibly, his tuition was also miraculously covered through other unexpected means. Even her elderly mother, who was initially a major concern for them, how could they leave her,
Yeah.
is now thriving, and apparently keeps asking when they'll all go back to Kona.
It's such a beautiful picture of how this guidance seems to orchestrate everything, not just for the individual, but for the whole family's well-being and alignment, removing every single barrier.
Exactly. It cleared the path completely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of how the diverse ways this inner knowing speaks. Dreams, nudges, circumstances, even K-dramas.
Right.
But this isn't just about the mechanics of hearing, is it? There's a profound why behind it all, a deeper purpose. And you've tied this to what you call original design. Can you unpack that a bit?
Yes, absolutely. Original design. It's about shifting our focus. Often when we think about praying for someone or even ourselves, we focus on the problems, right?
Yeah.
The struggles, the brokenness.
Yeah.
We can think of that as the left side of a heart analogy.
Yeah, the problem side.
Exactly. Original design directs us to look beyond that, to see and pray for a person's inherent potential, their divine calling, who they are truly meant to be in their essence. That's the right side, grace, purpose, calling. It's about looking at the divine blueprint, if you will, rather than just the current damage.
And you mentioned strongholds sometimes block that original design.
That's right. We define strongholds as these mental or emotional barriers. They often stem from past hurts, lies we've believed, or deeply ingrained negative patterns, and they literally prevent someone from fully living in their intended nature, their original design. Part of this journey involves identifying and overcoming those.
Got it. To give you listening a taste of this, we actually saw a live demonstration where multiple people shared direct revelations, things they felt they were receiving internally about one participant's original design.
Yes, that was a powerful session.
It really showcased the incredible diversity of this inner communication. People received images, words, feelings, and the specificity of the insights about this one person, Kang Shin-hyuk, was just astonishing. It painted this picture of his true nature.
It really did. The declarations included things like seeing him as big and strong, like a killer whale embodying global connection, social stability. He was called a follower of the divine heart, someone who makes new what is bound, brings order from chaos, changes atmospheres.
Powerful descriptions.
Very. Someone whose words carry authority, who fights for truth, has stubborn faith, moves with both deliberation and, like fiery passion, loyal, but with his inner tenderness. Also seen as a leader of leaders, like a wise elder with spiritual discernment, a warrior wielding truth, one who builds bridges in emergencies, literally making rafts for others.
These are incredibly specific and affirming insights into his core identity and purpose.
Deeply personal, yes. Highlighting his inherent strengths, his role in community, his deepest purpose. It wasn't just generic encouragement, it was tailored.
And how did the participant himself react, receiving all this?
He acknowledged his confusion, naturally, is a lot to take in, but also you could see a growing awareness dawning on him, a sense of a larger calling, even while he was still grappling with practical concerns, like housing and finances for his family there in Kona.
Right. It puts the personal worries into a bigger perspective, maybe.
Exactly. And ultimately, this points to the deeper why. The reason this inner wisdom reveals itself, the ultimate purpose, is to reveal its own good nature and to restore that deeper relationship with humanity. It's not just about guiding our actions.
It's about revealing who the source is.
Precisely. It's about revealing who this divine source is, its character, its love, its intentions.
So you mentioned this cycle of revelation. A message is received, then an event unfolds, and then through that experience, the divine confirms its own character, like showing itself through action.
Exactly. We see it in ancient texts, for instance.
Yeah.
Think of Abraham interceding for his nephew Lot. In the conversation, the divine didn't explicitly promise, okay, I'll save Lot no matter what.
Yeah.
But the subsequent action, the rescue, clearly showed a compassionate, responsive nature. The confirmation of character came after the conversation, through the event itself.
Ah, okay. The actions speak louder than words, in a sense.
In a way, yes. The words initiate the actions, confirm the nature behind the words.
And you shared your own personal marriage breakthrough, how this inner voice fundamentally shifted your approach there.
Yes, that was transformative for me. My wife and I had, well, many differences, and I have to confess I was often quite dogmatic, quite stubborn. I used to complain about her, frankly, but couldn't really see my own part in our struggles. But then I received this inner knowing, this clear thought. Your wife entered a covenant of trust with you when she married you, just as I entered a covenant with you. And suddenly this ancient wisdom I knew intellectually just came alive. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her.
Wow, that hits differently when it feels personal.
Completely. That revelation it broke something in me. It transformed my entire approach. It led me to stop focusing on her flaws and start praying for her original design, to truly see her through that divine lens with that same sacrificial love.
It's remarkable how a personal experience like that can illuminate those ancient texts, make them feel immediate and relevant.
It truly does. When you start hearing this inner voice for yourself, the ancient texts, the scriptures, they stop being just historical documents. They become living words, confirming and deepening your personal experiences. Suddenly, there's nothing to just gloss over. Every word holds potential personal meaning.
But for someone listening who might not feel that immediate connection yet, how do they begin to bridge that gap between maybe knowing the wisdom historically and experiencing it personally now?
That's a great question. I think the key is to start small. Don't expect thunderclaps right away, maybe. Start with simple acts of listening for those nudges, trusting those small feelings, those checks. Allow that bridge between the head knowledge and the heart experience to build over time through small steps of faith.
And the gift of presence. You mentioned it's not something we strive for, but something that's freely given.
Yes, that's so important. The divine's presence isn't something you have to earn or conjure up through intense effort or striving. It's presented as a freely given reality made accessible through a central figure of faith, through relationship.
So it's already available.
It's already available at any time, accessible by simple belief and trust, not by how hard we try or how spiritual we feel. It's already there, within reach, within you.
Okay, so we've explored the how and the why. Now let's quickly summarize the transformative fruits, the benefits of a life that's really attuned to this inner guidance. What are the key things people experience when they consistently live this way?
Well, there are some really profound benefits that emerge. First, and perhaps most foundationally, is a deepened trust in this inner source. You start moving beyond just relying on conventional logic or common sense for everything.
Learning to trust something else.
Exactly. You also often see the development or sharpening of spiritual gifts like faith, the ability to act on things unseen and prophecy, which in this context really means speaking from the divine's heart, sharing those insights about original design, for
It's
instance.
okay.
There tends to be a more natural, almost effortless flow in serving others. It doesn't feel like striving. And significant growth in humility and obedience, which interestingly seems to expand the scope of what this inner voice will then reveal to you. It's like a positive feedback loop.
Interesting. Obedience opens the door for more clarity.
It seems to. And people experience the fullness of a profound, unconditional love, described sometimes as a passionate fire that doesn't fade. There's often a natural inclination towards intercessory prayer, praying for others from that place of connection, and perhaps crucially, a growing sense of knowing the path ahead, walking in intentional obedience rather than always looking back in hindsight, trying to figure things out.
That seems incredibly empowering. And the miraculous financial provision stories really seem to underline this trust aspect. The condo story you mentioned earlier, buying a $265,000 condo with only $1,000 down.
Yes, solely based on this inner leading. This is an astonishing tale, really. The rest of the funds were apparently provided incrementally through faith as needed. It just illustrates how this guidance can empower these incredible acts of faith, leading to miraculous provision for what seemed like audacious, even reckless endeavors from a worldly perspective.
It shows something else is at play beyond normal finances.
Absolutely. It suggests something or someone is acting on your behalf in ways that defy conventional explanation.
And the voice healing story, your own story, that was a 15-year struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
With voice issues leading to deep depression, and then a specific promise of healing.
Yes, and the promise was very specific. It wasn't for perfect healing, interestingly. The sense was that the healing would be real, but partial, so that I'd always have to rely on grace, not my own strength or technique.
Okay, so the healing itself had a purpose beyond just fixing the problem.
Exactly, dependence. So I immediately stopped all the expensive treatments I'd been doing for years, and predictably, some symptoms did partially return later, but then came this very specific, almost bizarre instruction. Buy a saxophone for $500.
A saxophone to heal your voice.
Right. Makes no sense logically, but the instruction was clear. And the $500, literally the next day or very soon after, a former doctor I knew contacted me out of the blue and sent exactly $500 saying they felt prompted to.
Wow, to the dollar.
To the exact dollar. It shows how healing can be purposeful, leading to greater dependence, and how provision can come in these unexpected, precise amounts, confirming the unusual message. Playing the saxophone, by the way, did help strengthen my breath support in a new way.
Incredible. So tying this all together, what does this mean for the ultimate revelation? What's the biggest takeaway about the divine's character from all these experiences?
I think it means that the deepest purpose of any intensive spiritual training, or just this journey of listening, is ultimately to experience who the divine truly is. Not just know about it, but experience it.
Moving beyond definitions.
Exactly. Contrast those dry philosophical definitions of divine attributes, all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipresent, with the living, breathing, relational experience of those attributes in your own life.
You mentioned Moses earlier, how his life exemplified this. He started out quick-tempered.
Right, impulsive even. But ancient texts say he became the meekest man on earth. And his trials, think of the golden calf incident, or the rebellion at Kadesh Barnea where he struck the rock instead of speaking to it. These weren't just failures. They were profound, painful lessons in experiencing and embodying the divine's actual character.
Learning through failure.
Learning through struggle, through relationship breakdown and restoration. Through these incredibly hard experiences, he learned what divine mercy, grace, slowness to anger, steadfast love, and faithfulness actually felt like. Not just as concepts, but as lived reality. Even his final act, choosing to die with his rebellious people outside the Promised Land rather than enter alone, exemplified this profound, learned compassion. His life began to radiate the divine attributes he had encountered so intimately.
Learned through faithful endurance.
Yes, faithful endurance through trial.
And finally, that incredibly personal touch you shared, discovering why this inner voice calls you by your specific Korean childhood name, Hungjina.
Yes, that was deeply moving for me. It connected directly to my deepest childhood wound, which involved maternal abandonment. And in that moment of understanding why that specific name was used, this inner wisdom, this divine voice, revealed itself not just as father, but as my eternal, never-leaving mother, the one who wouldn't abandon me.
Wow.
It was this profoundly personal revelation of an intimate, unwavering presence that knew my deepest hurts, knew me before I was born, and promised to be with me forever. It healed something incredibly deep. And crucially, all these varied personal experiences, the big, the small, the painful, the joyful, they're consistently confirmed and enriched by the timeless truths found in sacred texts. It builds this confident, unshakable identity grounded in both experience and revealed truth.
What an incredible journey we've taken today. Just recapping, we've explored how this inner guidance, this divine voice, speaks in such diverse ways, haven't we?
Absolutely. Clear commands, subtle nudges, those life-altering breakthroughs like thunder, vivid dreams, even unexpected sources like popular dramas or parking spots.
Yeah, and we've seen how this connection leads to really tangible benefits, miraculous provision, healing, profound relational transformation. It's not just theoretical.
Not at all. It truly highlights a life of dynamic interaction, deep trust, and honestly, adventure. It's a powerful reminder that wisdom isn't always out there somewhere, but so often is waiting to be discovered within.
So for everyone listening, what stood out to you today? Was there a story, an idea that resonated? How might these insights apply to your own life, your decisions, maybe even your struggles?
Yeah, maybe take a moment to consider if this inner knowing, this divine guidance is already speaking to you in ways you just haven't recognized yet. Maybe it's quieter than you thought or comes in unexpected packages.
Hmm. And here's a final thought to leave you with. If this inner guidance's ultimate goal, as we've discussed, is to reveal its incredible goodness and unwavering love,
To reveal its own character.
right, then what might be the next step for you in simply experiencing that goodness, that love more deeply in your everyday life? Maybe it's a small step of trust.
A great question to ponder.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep discovering the profound beauty of a life connected to the voice within. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone. Until next time.